Welcome to Mastering Skills in Claude Code, a technical deep dive into the system that makes Claude permanently smarter. If you've used Claude Code, you know it can create documents, write code, and process data. But here's what most people miss. Every time Claude does this well, it's following a skill, a reusable instruction package that tells it exactly how to perform that task at a professional level. Today, we're going to tear apart the entire skill ecosystem: 4 built-in skills, unlimited custom skills, automatic detection, 2 layers of persistent memory. Let's get into it. Slide 2. What we'll cover. Agenda. Here's our roadmap. 12 topics, starting with what skills actually are and the problem they solve. We'll walk through the 3-tier architecture, dissect the 4 built-in skills, and look inside a skill.md file. Then we'll cover the auto-detection workflow, multi-skill orchestration, and Claude.md, the project memory layer. By the end, you'll know how to create your own skills, compose them for complex tasks, and avoid the anti-patterns that trip people up. Let's start with the fundamentals. Slide 3. What are Claude skills? A skill is a markdown file containing best practices, templates, and instructions that Claude Code automatically detects and follows when performing specific types of tasks. That's the technical definition. Let me make it concrete. Skills have 3 key properties. First, they're automatic. You don't manually load them. Say, make me a presentation, and the PPTX skill activates on its own. Claude reads the request, matches it against skill descriptions, and loads the right one. Second, they're reusable. Write the skill once and it applies every time Claude encounters that task type. Consistent quality without repeated prompting. Third, they're composable. Multiple skills can fire simultaneously. Need a Word doc with charts from a spreadsheet? The DocX and XLSX skills both load and collaborate. Think of it like a chef's recipe book. The chef doesn't reinvent recipes every meal. Skills are Claude's proven procedures, loaded on demand, ensuring every output meets your quality standards. Slide 4. The problem skills solve. Let's talk about why skills exist by looking at what happens without them. Without skills, you repeat yourself every session. Use TypeScript, follow our style guide, format it like last time, every single time. You get inconsistent outputs, same task, different quality depending on how well you prompted. Best practices discovered in one session vanish in the next, and you spend more time engineering prompts than doing actual work. With skills, all of that flips. You write your standards once in a skill.md file, and Claude loads them automatically. Same proven process runs every time. Institutional knowledge persists across sessions and team members, and there's zero prompt overhead. Just say what you need and the skill handles the how. This is the shift from telling Claude what to do to Claude already knowing what to do. Slide 5. Skills architecture. The skills system is organized into 3 tiers with clear precedence rules. At the top, highest priority, user skills. These live in your user skills directory. They are the custom skills you create for your specific workflows. Because they're highest priority, they override everything below them. If you write a custom doc skill, it takes precedence over the built-in one. In the middle, example skills. These are reference implementations provided by Anthropic, templates you can learn from and adopt. They include things like the skill creator meta skill. At the bottom, public skills. These are the built-in skills maintained by Anthropic, the core document creation capabilities for DocX, XLSX, PPTX, and PDF. They're battle-tested and production-grade. On the right, you can see the actual folder structure. Each skill gets its own directory containing a skill.md file. Clean, organized, discoverable. One critical detail: skills at the mount point are read-only. If you need to modify one, copy it to your working directory first. And remember, user skills always override public skills when there's a conflict. Slide 6. Built-in skills deep dive. 4 built-in skills ship with Claude Code. Each one is hundreds of lines of best practices. The DocX skill handles Word documents. It knows how to create documents using the docx.js library, edit existing files by unpacking and repacking XML, supports headers, footers, tables of contents, images, tracked changes, and a complete style override system. The XLSX skill covers spreadsheets. It reads XLSX, XLSM, CSV, and TSV files. It creates spreadsheets with formatting and charts, supports formulas, handles data cleaning, and manages multi-sheet workbooks. The PPTX skill is for presentations. It creates decks using PPTX.js, edits existing files through XML manipulation, supports charts, shapes, and custom layouts. Critically, it mandates a visual QA cycle because first renders are almost never correct. And the PDF skill processes PDFs. Text extraction, merging, splitting, form filling, OCR for scanned pages, and encryption. The key insight here is that each skill contains hundreds of lines of best practices that were built through extensive trial and error. Always read them before writing any code. Slide 8. Auto Detection Workflow. Now let's trace exactly what happens when you send Claude a request. The flow has 5 stages. First, your request comes in. You say something like, "Make me a presentation about Q3 results." Claude identifies this involves creating a PPTX file. Second, intent parsing. Claude analyzes your request against all available skill descriptions. Keywords like presentation, deck, or slides, or PPTX trigger matching. Third, skill matching. The system checks user skills first, then examples, then public. Multiple skills can match simultaneously. If your presentation needs data charts, both PPTX and XLSX skills activate and collaborate. Fourth, and this is mandatory, skill.md loading. Claude reads the matched skill files using the view tool before writing any code. This isn't optional. The skill contains critical implementation details, which libraries to use, what QA steps to follow, and what pitfalls to avoid. The number one cause of poor quality outputs? Skipping the skill reading step. Claude always reads the skill.md. Let's look inside a skill.md file. Every skill follows the same structure, and each section serves a specific purpose. At the top, YAML front matter. This has the skill's name, and most importantly, its description. The description is critical because Claude uses it to decide when to load this skill. You need to pack it with every trigger keyword that should activate it. Next, a quick reference table. This is a decision matrix for different task variants, short post versus long post, simple chart versus full dashboard. It helps Claude pick the right approach based on what you actually asked for. Then, guidelines. Tone, style, constraints, rules, these shape Claude's behavior directly. Be specific and prescriptive here. Always use Arial 12 point, not consider using a readable font. Finally, templates, step-by-step patterns for common outputs. Claude follows these structures, filling in your content. A hook, then context, then the key insight, then supporting evidence, then a call to action. The combination of trigger keywords, decision tables, prescriptive rules, and templates is what makes a skill effective. Creating your first skill. Creating a skill is a 5-step process. Step 1, identify the pattern. What tasks do you repeat? What instructions do you give Claude every time? If you find yourself saying the same things session after session, that's a skill waiting to be written. Step 2, create the folder. Each skill gets its own directory under your skills path. Just make the directory and add a skill.md file inside. Step 3, write the skill.md. Add the YAML front matter with name and description, a quick reference table, style guidelines, and templates. Follow the anatomy we just covered. Step 4, add trigger keywords. This is where most people underinvest. The description field drives auto detection. Include every keyword, synonym, and phrase that should activate this skill. LinkedIn, post, thought leadership, social media content. Step 5, test and iterate. Ask Claude to perform the task. Check if the skill actually loaded. Review output quality. Then refine the skill.md based on real results. Skills should improve over time. Multi-skill orchestration. Here's where skills become truly powerful. Orchestration. Consider this scenario. You say, create a quarterly report with charts from this CSV data and export as PDF. That's 3 skills working together. The Detection Hub identifies 3 relevant skills. The XLSIX skill parses the CSV and generates chart data. The Doc skill formats the report with headings, tables, and narrative. The PDF skill handles the final export. They work in parallel, each handling its own domain, and their outputs merge into your final deliverable. 4 rules govern orchestration. Skills load in parallel. Claude reads all matched skill.md files before starting work. Priority resolves conflicts. User skills override examples which override public. Skills compose rather than compete. Each handles its domain and they collaborate on the output. And QA rules accumulate. If any skill requires validation, that requirement persists in the combined workflow. The more skills you have, the more powerful your combinations become. Each new skill multiplies Claude's capabilities. Slide 11, Claude.md Project Memory. Skills tell Claude how to do things. Claude.md tells Claude about your project. It's persistent context that loads at the start of every session. A well-structured Claude.md has 4 sections. Key commands, how to build, test, and lint your project. Claude knows to run npm run dev or npm test without asking you every session. Tech stack, your specific frameworks and tools. When Claude knows you're using Next.js 14 with AppRooter, it generates the right patterns instead of generic React code. Style guide, your team's conventions. Functional components only. Server components by default. Co-located tests. Kebab case file names. Every file Claude creates matches your existing codebase. And important context, where your data lives, what your deployment target is, where the schema file is, where API routes go. Claude navigates your project without asking for directions. There are 2 placement levels. A global Claude.md at your home Claude directory applies to everything. A project-specific Claude.md at your repo root overrides and extends the global one. Without Claude.md, you're repeating yourself every session. With it, Claude starts every session with full project awareness. Slide 12, Skills versus Claude.md. Skills and Claude.md are complementary systems, not alternatives. Knowing when to use which is essential. Skills are about how to do a type of task. They're cross-project and task-specific. They load when the task type matches their description. They contain templates, rules, and best practices. The analogy, a chef's recipe book. Claude.md is about what this project is. It's project-specific and task-agnostic. It loads every session, automatically. It contains commands, tech stack info, and conventions. The analogy, a kitchen's ingredient list. Here's the decision guide. Is it about how to do something? That's a skill. Is it about what this project is? Claude.md. Would it help in other projects? Skill. Is it specific to this repo? Claude.md. Skills make Claude capable. Claude.md makes Claude informed. You need both. Slide 13, Real-World Skill Examples. Let's look at 6 production skill patterns that teams are actually using. A LinkedIn post writer skill that auto-applies brand voice, hook patterns, and hashtag strategy. Triggers on LinkedIn, post, or thought leadership. Marketing teams use this to maintain consistent personal branding. A PRD generator that follows your company's specific template with sections for goals, user stories, success metrics, and timelines. Product managers use it to go from meeting notes to structured PRDs in minutes. A data pipeline builder that enforces validation, logging, and error handling patterns. It outputs production-ready ETL code, not prototypes. An API test generator that creates comprehensive test suites following the arrange, act, assert pattern covering edge cases, off flows, and rate limits. A code review skill that reviews pull requests against team standards, checks for security issues, and suggests performance improvements. And the meta skill, the skill creator. This is the skill that creates other skills, runs evaluations, and benchmarks performance. It's how you scale your skill ecosystem. Slide 14, Best Practices. 6 patterns that maximize skill effectiveness. Be prescriptive, not descriptive. Say always use Arial 12 point, not consider using a readable font. Skills should give orders, not suggestions. Ambiguity is the enemy of consistency. Include trigger keywords in the description. The YAML description is your skills search index. Every keyword, synonym, and phrase that should activate it needs to be in there. Add addition tables for task variants. A quick reference table helps Claude pick the right approach: short post versus long post, simple chart versus full dashboard. Provide concrete examples. Show Claude what good output looks like. Include 1 or 2 complete examples in your skill for Claude to pattern match against. Examples are worth 1,000 words of rules. And include QA steps. Don't trust first outputs. Your skill should mandate verification. Check formatting, convert to images for visual inspection, verify content accuracy. And version and iterate. Track what works. When a skill produces poor output, update it. Skills are living documents that should improve based on real-world results. Slide 15. Anti-patterns to avoid. 6 mistakes that reduce skill effectiveness. Vague descriptions. If your description says use for writing stuff, Claude can't match it to anything specific. The fix: list every trigger, task types, file extensions, domain terms. Too many rules. A 2,000-line skill.md overwhelms the context window. Claude may miss critical instructions buried in noise. The fix: keep skills focused and split large skills into specialized subskills. No examples. Rules without examples are ambiguous. Claude interprets professional tone differently than you do. The fix: include 1 or 2 complete output examples showing exactly what you expect. Skipping QA. Skills that don't mandate verification produce inconsistent results. The first render is almost never correct. The fix: add explicit QA steps into the skill itself. Hard-coded paths. Skills with absolute paths break on different machines. Use relative paths and describe file locations conceptually. And duplicating Claude.md content. Putting project-specific context in a skill violates the concerns of separation. Project context goes in Claude.md. Task processes go in skills. Slide 15. Key takeaways. Let's bring it all together with 6 key takeaways. Skills are Claude's recipe book, task-specific instructions that auto-load when needed. 3 tiers: user skills at highest priority, then examples, then public built-in skills. The 4 built-in skills for Docs, XLSIX, PPTX, and PDF are production-ready and battle-tested. Use them as your foundation. Claude.md equals project memory. Skills equal task procedures. Use both together for maximum effectiveness. Write prescriptive skill.md files with rich trigger keywords, concrete examples, and mandatory QA steps. And remember, multiple skills compose for complex tasks. Each handles its domain and they collaborate on the output. Skills transform Claude from a tool you have to manage into a system that already knows how to work. Thanks for watching.